Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory, honors, and praises to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushua by Hashem, Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone for teaching this truth time and time again, showing us to be men of the Lord, and to all other elders teaching this of the correct doctrine, teaching this truth time and time again, showing us to be men edifying the flock. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying, and I have a video on the show at end, a very interesting, it's very good, and Lord willing, I remember I put them all in the link because it's talking about our food production. So this video, I'm gonna go into this article, which is in Natural News, which is pretty good site. Amish organic farmers face hefty fines and jail times for producing clean meat. This is what the devil is doing. This is how he works. Hey, Amish, and I got this article, I believe it was from the brother from Pasadena, Texas. I'm not sure. Posted a lot of stuff, but a lot of brothers posted, but I believe it is. So this is Natural News. A Amish farmer is facing hefty fines or a prison term for simply trying to produce some cream meat. This is what the devil's doing. Like, they're really having, and the videos I'm getting into why they pretty much made it illegal to produce the seeds. So I have that video. I'll put it a little bit in the end. And Amos Miller runs a holistic manage for farms in Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania, where he breeds cows, chickens, and pigs. The animals in the century-old farm is bred without using chemicals and medication mandates by the use of the drug whatever corporation mandates force you to drug your animals with things that they said you need for our protection, chemicals and all that stuff. This is how the devil gets down. And according to Miller, he raises his animals in the way he believes God intended them to be raised, in accordance with nature. You know, most likely because the Amish, most of them are like German Edomites, like Temanites. So, but they still have a zeal sometimes. However, a federal judge ordered the Amish farmer to cease and desist all sales of organic meat. It's like, nope, you can't do it. You have to poison people. It's the devil. And cease and desist the organic and sell marginal meat. Merit Magnastrife also ordered Miller to pay $250,000 con for contempt in court last summer. He added that the farmer needs to pay an initial $50,000 as a good faith payment to avoid jail. So it's like, all right. So they're extorting people. So he's like, oh, you want to do it? They'll extort you, and then you still can't sell it. To make matters worse, so this is what they're putting it so bad that you have to, oh man, I got to drug my farmer and just close their farm. Their farm members. To make worse, armed U.S. forces raided his property, farm stores, freezers, and behest of federal judge. They took the inventory of all his meat to ensure he will no longer be able to sell or slaughter any more animals. See that? Miller, who runs a private member-only farm, distributes networks, allege that the federal government is prosecuting him for practicing religious freedom in the way he raises and prepares meat. So if he made the cows homosexuals or something, right? Then you want to make them or gave them like crack cocaine and sold it to them, it'd be okay. But now you making it that is actual what that cow actually eats, what nature intended it is. This is anti-Messiah society. Our members do not want any of that. They want fresh, raw meat with no additives. Our members want straight from the farm with no preservatives in it. The members of the private food club agree. And when they say preservatives, say, well, it's going to go bad or there's going to be diseases if you don't put it. So what did people do before, which they were in better health, lived better life before it was added? They still ate. The 1,000, longer than any of these fucking devils been putting these additives in it, and then no reserves and preservatives. The members private food say they do not like grass-fed meat laced with chemical preservatives mandated by the USDA, which they don't do anything except kill people. And number 400 that they sign contract that state the awareness of the meat is not processed in the U.S. USDA inspected plant are treated with preservatives. According to all USDA licensed processed farm plants are required to treat the meat regardless whether they are organic or grass-fed. Synthetic preservatives. Often they use citric acid, which is think to come from oranges and lemons, but nope, it is from modified substance, corn, corn, and they don't have to label it on the meat. What's else? Let's just go through it. These are the things that they make: a chemical cocktail, citrus acid, lactic acid, and persitic acid. Persitic acid is toxic, and citrus and lactic acid are GMOs. So he was like, you have to make it GMOs. And so you can read it, and I'm going to put the rest in the article. It's a very good article. But look it, the Lord said this was going to happen. And it's ultimately because they're trying to cause first to kill you people and then cause famine, because these additives and all this stuff is like antibiotics. So we're going to start with this. This is Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 13. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their bread defiled among the Gentiles. And these fucking heathen. And that's not the other, but the heathen Gentiles, the natural Gentiles. What is the Greek word? I think they say it all the time. Goyim, they say goyim, or is goyim. Goyim. The nations people, usually non-Hebrew people. See? Where I will drive them. So where we went, and we were banished to Babylon the Great and all that stuff. And if you think this is, majority of all countries allow this, make this happen. You can probably do it, but in the United States it's not. But for corn and for the world and stuff, it is impossible to do it. You have to go through it. Like growing plants, it has to be, you can't grow seeds more. So we're gonna put that video at the end. And they said, I, the Lord God, behold, my soul hath been polluted, for from my youth you till now have I not eaten that which is died of itself, or is torn into pieces, neither came like attacked by an animal, or came there abominable flesh in my mouth, anything. Because, it's a law. So he's saying that if you were like, yeah, I eat organic. Well, you're not eating organic. You're paying a lot of money for nothing, because it allows for only, when they say organic, it only has to be 70% organic. So if you continue in that article, only has to be 70%, because there's a video under that article, which is good, very good video. It said it only allows 70% of it has to be organic. The rest you can put whatever you want in it, pretty much. But you have to put that that preservative chemical cocktail in it too. And their abominable flesh. And for cows' dung and for men's dung thou shalt prepare thy bread therein. So the Lord said, because first he said human shit, then he said cow, because that's what we're pretty much eating. We're eating shit. Moreover, he said unto me, son of man. He's having Isaiah do it because this is going to cause a famine, causing these animals. That's why all these animals are dying. And they said it's not working fast enough. Straight up call these animals 20,000. They said that they're making 20,000 cows be called this year. I will break the staff of the bird. And you just seen 18,000 a couple of months ago just die all of a sudden. This is what happens when you feed them these poisons and all that stuff, destroy their immune, and then you breed them so close together, then now they're all the same genetics that one disease can just wipe out the whole thing, just as in plants. I will break the staff of the bread therein, and they shall eat their bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment. So this is ultimately what they're trying to do. They're going to try to destroy us. Because if you wanted to do like a Daniel diet, like this is what Daniel did. He said, to eat the meats of the kings. This is Daniel 1:8. But Daniel posed in his heart he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat. Well, when he put in that diet, eat all herbs. Well, you can't even do that now in this society. nor the wine which he drunk. Therefore he requested the prince that the eunuchs, that he might not defile himself. Now he brought David a favor and tender and love, and a prince of the eunuchs. So let's just get him back. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear the Lord thy king, who has appointed you meat and drinks. I fear my Lord the king, who appointed you meat and drinks. For why should he see your face worse liken the children which are of sort, and they shall make and endanger my head of the king? And it's just going down. When he did it, he proved and he got to eat it, and his countenance. All right, verse 13, and let the countenance look before thee, and the countenance of the children that ate the portion of the king's meat, as seest deal with the servants. But bear with me. Oh, at the end of verse 15, and at the end of the day their countenance, and at the end of the day their countenance appeared fairer and fatter. With fairer meaning beautiful, it doesn't mean whiter, it means better, like looking, a beautiful countenance. Oh, Satan. And the flesh of all the children they did eat the portion of the meat. Then all the children that were eating the meat and all stuff, So, but this is what the devil's doing. He's literally making you poison yourself. And the Lord said he was going to do it, because they're ultimately trying to bring forth the famine. This is Hosea chapter 9, verse 3. And the Lord shall not dwell and then they shall not dwell in the Lord's land. So we're in a captivity. But Ephraim shall return to Egypt, which is the spiritual, and this is talking about the southern kingdom after they got taken captive, and shall return unto Egypt, and they shall eat unclean things in Assyria, And then this is, if you go on, it's going into their sacrifices, but they shall be defiled. So ultimately, this is what's going on. They're trying to bring forth the famine of the word. Let me grab something real quick. I'm gonna get a couple scriptures and I'll put that video, and then play the video a little bit, and then we can end it. So let me slack you back into Ezekiel. Bear with me. What the fuck is it? (16). So he's going to break the staff of the bread thereof. Let me grab a scripture real quick. This is actually, let me grab this. I'm gonna play the video real quick.
Seeds out of a tomato, which is what I do in my free time, and I was like, man, there are more than 200 seeds in here. This farming stuff is for chumps. If I planted these 200 seeds, I would get 200 tomatoes. And if I planted the seeds from those tomatoes, I would have 4,000 tomatoes. Do that 4 more times, and I'd have 320 billion tomatoes. Sell each of those tomatoes for $10 at the farmer's market.
Oh, and we'll call it Fair Use Act. This is for educational purposes and are not making any monetary value on it, just to be able to teach, criticizing purposes only.
And boom, I'm a trillionaire. But then I learned that there was one little hiccup with my plan. Farmers don't replant their own seeds anymore. They just throw them out. Why? Well, according to the official manual for defending billion-dollar agriculture companies, saving seeds leads to all sorts of crazy problems like reduced crop yield, susceptibility to disease, and, quote, you getting dumped by your girlfriend for using seeds every...
See, which is bullshit, but this is Esau Edom. Let me grab this. And I'm gonna have to jump through the video to the end. This is Psalms chapter 64 verse 5. They encourage themselves at evil matter. They commute on laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? So this is what? So the lion and they put these things. They search out iniquity. They accomplish a diligent search. So how we can defile them as much? By putting poison in the food, because you live off of poison. And both their inward thoughts of every one of them, their heart is deep, and God shall shoot. So that just put a spark in me right here, because they're pretty much shooting these little. Because Esau's is a bitch, so you know how he gets down. But the Lord's using Esau as a weapon. This is Ezekiel chapter 5, verse 16. When I shall send upon the evils of famine, which shall be the destruction, in which I shall send to destroy you, and I will increase the famine in you, and I will break the staff of the bread. And you shall send the famine and even beasts, and they shall behave, and pestilence and blood shall pass through thee, and I will bring the sword upon thee, and I, the Lord, have spoken it. We already know when the Lord speaks it, it's going to happen. But bear with me. Let me get back to that video. We're going to have to jump around. I'm going to have to put it in the thing, because
You're like a dirty loser farmer instead of buying Monsanto's new tricked out seeds with all the latest features. But I'm not sure that's a reliable source since the last 80 when we decided to inventing plants. Of course, humans have been cultivating new breeds of plants for as long as we've been growing them, but there was one huge problem with that. No one had gotten filthy rich off of it yet. So, in the 1930s, the US federal government passed the Plant Patent Act, and for the first time anywhere
and what is just the same thing as the medical thing, with the fucking the Rothschilds and all these elite demonic families were ugly as fuck.
The world, people could legally claim that a plant was their intellectual property. Of course, this didn't apply to naturally occurring plants. You couldn't just walk outside in 1930 and claim that grass was your idea. God filed that patent 55 million years ago.
What did the Lord say about mixing seeds, which is against the law? See, this is the reason why these laws are put forth. So, Kala Yahba Shemel Shai, for the law, statutes, commandments.
To patent a plant, at least in the United States, you have to prove that you cultivated a distinct new variety of plant and are capable of making more of it. Just as an example, here's the patent for plums. It says plum and has a picture of a plum. I don't know what more you would need. Now, at first, this patent law didn't really affect the way that farmers farmed. Up until the 90s, there were only 120 patented plants, and farmers didn't generally grow or harvest them. But that all changed when a little mom-and-pop industrial chemical manufacturer called Monsanto had the wise idea to shift their business model from selling plant poison to selling plants that couldn't be killed by their own plant poison. These Roundup-ready crops, mostly soybeans and corn, quickly took over nearly every farm in the US and many more around the world, because it turns out that not dying from weeds or weed killer is an important trait for crops to have. And Monsanto's not the only one. A massive proportion of crops we eat were invented and patented by some company designed to be more reliable or more resilient than other breeds. But here's the kicker. Growing a patented plant is...
Remember, they said, this is how the devil works. They dress them by wine, and what they do, they say, by safety, they shall destroy many. So say, if you want your plants to live and won't die, take this. This is going to help you.
Legally, the same thing as manufacturing any other patented product. It's like a restaurant making a Big Mac or a factory making a Rick and Morty body pillow. Basically, these companies decide who can make their product and exactly how much of it they can make. Anytime a farmer wants to grow a patented plant, they need to sign a contract saying they'll only grow the seeds they've purchased, and they won't replant or give away the next generation of seeds. It's kind of like if your can of Pepsi magically refilled with Pepsi after you were done drinking it, and then Pepsi was like, hey, what the hell, you can't drink that, you have to throw that out and buy a brand new can of Pepsi, especially because you're the only person on earth who intentionally buys cans of Pepsi. And even though these patents are mostly held in the US and Europe, Article something of the Thingy Accord means you can't replant patented seeds in any of these countries. So unless you're trying to get rich growing genetically modified beets in Eritrea, you're pretty much screwed. But Sam, you might be saying, if this is such a big problem for farmers, why don't they just grow non-patented plants? I'm a stupid loser and the only way I can make myself feel better is by sowing dissent in your comments section. Well, setting aside the fact that it's pretty hard to keep your farm afloat with corn that dies when you look at it the wrong way, there's also the worry that you might end up growing patented plants by accident. After all, farms accidentally cross-pollinate nearby farms all the time, and it's hard to know how much of that pollen has a big scary contract on it. That is, of course, unless you're one of the hundreds of private investigators that these seed companies hire to spy on farms and look for people to drop lawsuits on. Now,
you see? So I'm going to put these in the description box, these videos in the article. You can finish it. But you see, this is how the devil works. But My bad. I just don't know it off the top of the head. Bear with me. Yeah, I'm gonna just grab this actually, because I can't remember. This is Lamentations chapter 1, verse 11 in the NLT. Her people groan as the search for bread. They sold their treasure for food to stay alive. Look, O Lord, look, she mourneth. See how I am despised. So this is how I became vile, you see. This is how our people, this is how our people don't understand. When the Lord said he was gonna bring forth famine and all that stuff, that is. So now, when all these things of Bill Gates buying all this land and the famine comes, and all these things of the food being defiled, and then because once you have all, they have complete control of it, so they can make it, and they can put those little, disease carrier things inside of it, the juicy juice thing, and then you won't be able to find it, and then that it's going to make the food die, and then famine's going to come. So with that, I want to give, and then you're going to be searching for bread, and you won't find it. So with that, I want to give all glory, honors, and praise to Yah, Bashim Shai, Bashim Kakodas, the Wadi Yah, Bashim Shai, the Wadi Yah, Bashim Shai, and the Wadi Yah, Bashim Shai. Shalom.